Is this bloody going now? Is this on?
Yeah.
Is this on here?
Good to go.
Bloody hell. Is that all right? Are they watching now?
Yeah.
Hello there, it's Brummie Dave. How are you lot? Long time no see, as they say, because I haven't been on here for a bloody while. I think I was being too popular. Andy didn't like it, but anyway, he's hurt his back. Bloody hurt his back. He's bloody saff, that lad is. I'll tell you, he does a bloody gig, plays for about 2 hours, wakes up the next morning, he can't bloody get out of bed, he can't take anything, that fella. Anyway, he rang me up and said, I'm having a bit of trouble, Dave, could you go in and cover on the channel, do a couple of videos for me? I said, of course I can, mate, I'm in there right now. I said, what do you want to do? He said, something you know about. So I said, what, how about I do, I don't know, the 10 greatest bands from Birmingham? You know, so I've done that for him, you know, and I've got him here because I had a letter from the tax this morning. Bloody bastards, aren't they? After my bloody money, well, they're not having it, I'll tell you that now. Anyway, I had a letter from the tax, so I hope Andy bloody pays me for doing this, because I need to pay a tax bill off and I don't bloody want to. It's quite a large sum. I thought they didn't know about it, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I've written my list on here, so I'll stick that down there, and then I'm going to introduce the video now and tell you what we're going to be doing. So basically, in Great Britain, where I'm sat right now, right in the middle of it, right in the middle of England, is the greatest city on earth, and that's Birmingham. Funky moped. Move, 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 funky moped. And I come from Birmingham, you see, and in Birmingham, we invented heavy metal. And I'm a big metal fan, you see. Great, I'm a very big metal fan, I love it. And I've lived metal, man and boy, since I was a nipper. I came up at the same time, late 60s, when I first got into it. I know I look young, right? But a lot of that's got to do with the fact that I do get through a lot of black hair dye, you know, and you know, I mean, and you know, with the glasses and the hats, there's not much of my face you could actually see. So if I took all this off, you'd be able to see that I am actually quite an old man, you know, really. But the thing about the rock, it keeps you young, doesn't it? You know, as I say, your man is only as young as the lady he feels. But the thing is, I mean, I've been married to Beryl for 50 years now, old Beryl. She's a good lady, old Beryl is. And she's helped me out with this a little bit, because she said, Dave, you're going to put all the metal bands on, aren't you? I said, of course I bloody am. And she said, you can't be doing that. There's other bands from Birmingham. So she's helped me out with some of these bands, right? Some of them I just would not put on. I said, I ain't putting the bloody Streets on. Who the hell's the Streets? I'm not putting them on. Right, she wanted me to put all them bands from Starbridge. I said, Starbridge is not Birmingham. I'm having the Wonder Stuff, Ned's Atomic bloody Dustbin, bloody Diamond Dead. I don't want having Diamond Dead. I mean, if they're a proper bloody rock band, I've put them on. And so, like, geographically, I've gone wider if they're the more rock they are, you know. But I have had to put some bloody shite on here. But that's what Beryl said, so I've put it on here. I don't know what I'm going to say when I get to those bands, but I'll try my best. So I've got my list here, right? So I'm going to start at number 10, and I'm going to go straight in with a bloody brilliant band. I thought they should be higher up. If I had Beryl saying stick bloody UB40 on and all that crap, you know, they would definitely be higher up. I love them very, very much, and know them all in this band. A great bunch of lads they are, great bunch of lads. So we're talking about Magnum. Yeah, Magnum. Now, if you noticed, Andy never bloody talks about Magnum. Now, when Magnum started, they were quite proggy. They're like a Birmingham prog band, you know, like a good one. So they do all the proggy, and they're doing all that. And then when it gets to the 1980s, they start doing all the rock, don't they? And they all go stadium rock. I quite like that stuff. And they were really big and successful, and nobody seems to remember them. But they were a good bunch of lads, Magnum. Now, what's not known about Magnum is that Magnum actually comes. They're all big fans of Dirty Harry. Yeah, they are. All of them, Bob Catley, they were all big fans of Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, not so much the spaghetti westerns, more the Dirty Harry films. And there's 3 Dirty Harry films, isn't there? Anyone would think I'm talking about Dirty Harry because I know a little bit more about this than Magnum, but that's not the case. I'm telling you some facts here. So there's three Dirty Harry films. There's the original one called Dirty Harry, right? Although I didn't think that Harry was that dirty when I watched it, not in any shape or form. I mean, I've got a mate called Harry, and he's from Moseley, and he is bloody dirty, that fella, in both senses of the word, you know. I mean, you wouldn't lick him because you'd catch all sorts, and then the sort of ladies he hangs out with, especially back in the old days, bloody hell. Dirty Harry by name, Dirty Harry by nature. Anyway, he's way dirtier than Clint Eastwood is in that film. Oh, that's my favourite one. Then they did another one after that called the Magnum Force, and that's where the band get their name. It's from that second one, the Magnum. That's quite good. Then they did the Enforcer. I didn't like that one so much because they got a lady in that, and she comes in, and it's like I never got it because she keeps trying to make out that Clint's a sexist. I'm thinking, well, he's sexy, isn't he? He is. That joke's from Spinal Tap. I wish I hadn't bloody said it now. Anyway, so that's what I've got number 10. Is Magnum. And I'm moving on now to number 9, as you would expect. And I've got a band that it was like they're one of Great Britain's great bands. Now, you watching it in the United States, well, you're not going to know what the hell's bloody going on with this video anyway. So, you know, good luck, that's all I say to you. But there's a couple of bands here that were really big in the United Kingdom, but they didn't get so big in the United States. And at number 9, I've got one of them bands they were bloody, what a great bloody band they were. One of my favourites. Not that heavy, but they could be heavy. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's a band called The Move. The Move, yeah, so they came out of a band, I can remember when I was I was bloody young. I was a nipper, basically. There was a band called The Idle Race. It's got Bev Bevan in. I haven't seen Bev for a while, and I'd love to see Bev. He's all right. He is. They had this great big bash up in Birmingham for Yellow, and Bev was there. Steve Gibbons was there. Trevor Burton was there. They were all bloody there, right? And I couldn't make it. I was right annoyed. I know Andy went to it, but I couldn't make it because there's a lot of old mates there, and I think Bev was there. I'd love to say hello to him. I don't know if he'll remember me in the old days. I said to Andy, because he knows Bev, I said, see if he remembers Brummie Dave. And Bev said, Brummie who? And he said, Brummie Dave. And he goes, what's his surname? He goes, I don't know. He doesn't know, boss. I won't let him know. It's because of the old tax, you see. I don't want him to know. That's why I always wear the bloody glasses. Anyway, The Move. They came out of this band called The Idle Race in the 60s, and you got your Bev Bevan on drums, right? You got that Carl bloke on vocals. Didn't know him so well. You got Roy Wood on, he was like singing and playing a bit of guitar. He was a right nipper, he was, but he wrote some brilliant songs, he did. And then you got Trevor Burton on bass. They're a bloody good band. Now, a little known fact, well, it's a known fact for some people, but, you know, maybe you don't know this fact, that Radio 1, the first song they ever played was by The Move. Yeah, they played their song, and then The Move, right, they did all sorts of stuff. Now, my favourite song by The Move is California Man, because they rock a bit on that. They could rock. They were a really bloody good band. Really good one. They did one about a dinosaur that I really liked. I can't remember the name of that one. If you know the name of it, was it called Diplodocus? Did they do one called Diplodocus? Or I might be thinking of another band then. Yeah. It's bloody hard doing these videos, I tell you. Andy does a good job, really, because I don't think this is quite as good as what he does. But anyway, I'll keep going. And I thought I'd know more about The Move. Anyway, they became Yellow later on. More of that in a minute. Right, at number 8, I'm going to move further afield. And I'm going to move over to Bloxwich. Now, Bloxwich is a right dump outside Wolverhampton, north of Wolverhampton. And a lot of the lads there, they formed a band called Slade, right? Now, I bloody love Slade. I think Slade are one of the best bands ever to come out of the United Kingdom. I really do. Now, what's interesting with Slade is I would say that Slade in 1973, They were the biggest band in the world. Well, I wouldn't say it. I'll tell you who would say it is Dave Hill. Because Dave Hill said it. I was watching him on a podcast. So Dave Hill was the guitar player of in Slade. Old Dave was. And then you'd got Jimmy on bass. You'd got like Don on drums. Now Don's been on Andy's channel. Yeah. Now I did come down to see Don. And he said, I'm seeing Don Payne. You remember Don? He said, yeah, of course I remember Don. Trouble is, Don don't bloody remember me. Because he's got no memory, old Don Powell. Nah, he couldn't remember me at all. I thought that was a bloody surprise. And of course, you got Noddy on vocals, haven't you? With that great big screaming voice, you know. Now, they're both well known for having that Christmas song, which I didn't bloody like. I mean, I've heard it too many times. It's not a bad song. I mean, it's a good song, really. My favourite one by them is 'Cause I Love You, which I think was their first hit single in 1971. I like that. 'Cause I love you. You know, it's really good, that one is. Old Jimmy plays a bit of violin. But anyway, in 1973, they were the biggest band in the bloody world. They had a film. They had a film made about them. Well, they started a film anyway. They were massive, but they never quite bloody broke America. And I don't know why that is. It's because the Americans, they're all bloody saft, aren't they? They don't know a good record. Slade are bloody amazing. If you want to know more about Slade, right, and it's bloody interesting stuff they did, check out Andy's interview with Don Powell. Really good it is. Right, so we're at number 8. Right, number 7. I said to Beryl, I said these are all, I don't mind putting these bands on, right? Don't mind it at all. But the thing is, that we've got to put some heavy bands on. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, you know, like proper heavy bands from Birmingham. Now, of course, Birmingham being the birthplace of heavy metal, it's got the most heaviest band of all time. Birmingham produced the heaviest band of all time, and I bloody love them. I love them so much, I really do. I love this band so much. A lot of people, it's a bit much, but when you're proper metal like me, I bloody love them, and that band's Napalm Death. Bloody love Napalm Death. Now, Napalm Death come from Solihull. Now, Solihull's like the posh bit. You would never think it. That's like the posh bits in Birmingham, old Solihull is. Well, the original members were. I remember them because I used to go out. We used to go out like on these picnics in the early 80s, you know, with some of the guys up from Solihull, because they liked to picnic. I wasn't so keen on a picnic, but they'd say, we got some Scotch eggs in pickle. And I go, well, if you got Scotch eggs on there, mate. So I used to go out and hang out with them in the park, you know, having a picnic. This is what they used to like, old Napalm Death. They were into a lot of that, because they're quite posh, you see. Nobody realises this. They were quite posh. They were the early chaps were, you know. And they went to school with that comedian, what's his name? Stuart Lee. You know Stuart Lee? Andy loves him. He thinks he's bloody funny. He gets on my nerves. He'd be a lefty, isn't he, old Stuart Lee? Because he's a posh boy, wasn't he? Posh boy from Solihull. That's why he's a bit... Anyway, he knew him as well. Stuart Lee used to come along. He never used to like a Scotch egg, you know. He didn't like a Scotch egg. Now, he was more refined. So he would have, like, coronation chicken in his sandwiches, old Stuart would. But he used to come along. He was a good laugh, you know. He was into all sorts of stuff. He was, old Stuart Lee was. Anyway, it's not about Stuart Lee. He's not on the bloody list, is he? It's Napalm Death. Now... few years later, an old mate of mine, I've known him now he's not from Birmingham, but he used to hang around all the metal clubs. I got to know him. He's a really good lad, good bloke called Shane Embry. He joined, like, I think about 1984, 85, quite early on. And he's still in the band. It's like become his band, really. And I've been chatting to Shane, really, and I said to him, you need to come on the bloody channel. And he says, I don't know whether I want to go on Andy's channel. I said, why don't you want to go on Andy's channel, Shane? He goes, I don't know, really. I might come on it. I'd like to come on it, but I don't know if I've got anything to say. So of course you got bloody something to say. Bloody Shane, you're Shane Embry. You know, you're heavy metal icon, Shane Embry. So put it in the comments now if you want Shane to come on, and I'll give him another cook. I know him really well. I've known him bloody for years. Years and years I've known Shane. He's a bloody good lad, he is. Good bass player, good lad. Now, funny thing about Shane is he has got a hobby that people don't know about. He's a collector of guinea pigs. He's got one of the biggest guinea pig collections in Birmingham. I think he's got the only one, really, because a lot of the chaps in Birmingham, if you give them a guinea pig, they bloody eat them. But the thing with guinea pigs, they were bred to be eaten, weren't they? The old guinea pigs were. I mean, that's why they call them guinea pigs, because we eat pigs and we eat them, you know. They've got a proper name, haven't they? I can't remember what it is. I don't like them, really, because I don't like their face. It's like, you know, like a guinea pig's face. It always looks a bit grumpy to me. Like, they always sat there like this. Don't like them. I'd bloody eat one. I think but Shady bloody loves his guinea pigs. He's got loads of them. He's got about 400 of them. Yeah? He's got 4. They're all named after heavy metal icons. It's really funny when you go around his house because he's got this big bag of feed. And he goes outside and he goes, guinea pigs, do you want feeding? And they go, they don't say anything, you know, they do like a little whistle sound out there, the old guinea pigs. And then he starts feeding them and he says, there you go, Uli John Roth. That one, because is that one called Uli? Yeah, that's Uli John Roth there. We've got Rob Alford here. That's Rob Alford there. This one's Steve Harris. Right, what's Steve Harris from Iron Man? Yeah, that's the fella there. We got him there, right over there. You know, and he goes, he's named them all, right? You know, there's a little trio in the corner called Venom. And they're named after the band Venom. Right, they're nasty bunch, they are. Satanists. Satanic guinea pigs. I bet you didn't think we'd be covering that on the channel. Anyway, Napalm Death, bloody love them. I love it all, I really do. Not so keen on the next one. Beryl said I'm going to put this one on now. It's bloody UB40. Right, UB40. I mean, we talk about Napalm Death being a bit posh. Those lads were. Bloody hell. Now, they were related to some folk fella, can't remember his name, something Campbell he was. What's his name? It's bloody hard remembering all this stuff. I don't know how Andy does it. Anyway, so they came out and they liked a bit of a smoke, if you know what I'm saying. So they got into all the reggae. And we had a band, they're not on the list, and I nearly put them on, but it's not my thing. We had a band in Birmingham called Steel Pulse. They should be at number 11, really. They're proper reggae band, but they're from Birmingham. A good bunch of lads from up at Answorth. Well, I think they're from Answorth anyway, probably somewhere like that. Anyway, not my cup of tea. But there's a history of reggae in Birmingham, and you know, and then later on we had like all that two-tone stuff going over in Coventry, and we had the Beats as well on the early years. It's not my thing really. But then UB40 came out, and they named themselves after it's like back then if you were on benefits, I was, you see, and bloody used to hate that going down to the job centre. Early 1980s. There's no bloody jobs. They used to say, Dave, have you been looking for jobs? I said, yeah, I've been looking for jobs. I said, what's your speciality? They used to say to me, what's your speciality, Dave? And I used to say metal. And they go, well, we can get you, there's metal foundry, you've got the Black Country and all that type of stuff. And I said, I ain't bloody doing that. And they said, why aren't you doing that? I said, look what happened to Tony Iommi. Had his bloody fingers chopped off doing that. I said, I'm not talking about that sort of metal. What sort of metal are you talking about? They would say, I'd say heavy metal. So they got, most of the metal they deal with is heavy. I mean, there's some bloody aluminium works here, but it's mainly steel and iron and stuff like that. They're the heavier metals. I don't mean that type of sort of heavy metal. They go, what do you mean then? And I go, bloody proper heavy metal. And they say, what's that? This argument would bloody go on. And eventually when they understood what I was talking about, they said, well, there's no bloody jobs in that. I said, of course there's a bloody job in that. It's all the people playing in the metal bands, isn't there? They said, can you play an instrument, Dave? I said, well, no, not really, but I want to be a pundit. And I said, I want to be heavy metal pundit, you see. And it never bloody happened. Now Andy's got his channel. It's good because I can come on and do some like proper Birmingham punditry. Now I'm filling the gap here because UB40, I don't really like them. You know, I can remember they had that single out to start off with. It's called I Am a 1 in 10. Now, when I heard that, a mate of mine had said that 1 in 10 men are homosexual. Now, I got nothing against the gays, nothing against them. So I'm not a homophobic person at all, not at all. But I thought, I don't know why they're advertising it on that song, you know, because apparently that's what my mate said, 1 in 10 people are homosexual. Then they're going, oh, I am a 1 in 10, you know, a number on a list. I thought, what list's that? Bloody the gay list, you know. But anyway, they did a song about that, you know, about being gay. But a lot of people weren't that time. There's nothing wrong with it. I've got nothing against the gays. Nothing at all. A lot of my friends are gay. You know, there's Gay Simon from Blockswitch. He grew up, he knew the Slade lots. He knew them quite well, actually, old Dave Hill. Less said about that, the better. Anyway, I'm going off the subject. Then they did this bloody record, UB40. Bloody hell, couldn't stick it. They got a load of old songs. Like they did an Elvis. I love bloody Elvis. They did an Elvis song. I can't remember which one. I didn't bloody listen to it. They did Red, Red Wine. Do you remember that? Red, Red Wine. Now, I used to grow up. I had a mate. Mate, I'm going to give a shout out to him. He was really good with knobs. We had to be with UB40. He was really good. He could handle a knob. And he used to do a lot of the sound for the bands. And a really good mate, I'm going to give him a shout out, good mate of mine called Al Caves. And Al Caves, he did all the sound for old UB40, right? And he actually did the sound on bloody Red Red One. And I think he did a really good job on that one. You know, I think it sounds bloody lovely, that one does. Anyway, I just thought I'd give Al's a staple of the Birmingham CDs. Very important, these chaps, that they get a mention. Anyway, I'm going to move on from UB40. Right, who we got at number 5? Oh, bloody hell, can't stick this one. So at number 5, Beryl said I had to put Duran on. Yeah, they're from Birmingham. You wouldn't believe it, would you? About a bloody band from Birmingham. Yeah, Duran. I remember them. Bloody hell. It was like 4 little Lord Fauntleroys walking around trying to form a band. They were. Bloody hell. They used to put all these frills on. They got all these frills coming out of here, coming out their sleeves, right? And they didn't want to play any rock. They couldn't bloody rock to save their life, right? But they were really into bloody chic, freak out and all that type of stuff. And they thought they were funky. I said, you can't be funky, chaps. You're from Birmingham. I mean, who's funky from Birmingham? Nobody's bloody funky. Funkiness and Birmingham, they don't go together, right? And Duran, they tried to be funky, but they didn't quite pull it off. They did at certain points, didn't they, you know? But there they were, all bloody frilly, pretending to be posh, and I don't think, right, even though Duran are from Birmingham, you'd never bloody think it, because it's typical Brummie, right? They think it's like... Right, it's like what they call them. It's like the nouveau riche, isn't it? That's what Duran are. They thought we're going to be posh, and so we're going to dress like some bloody dandy, have some frills, get our photograph taken with a bunch of skinny birds on a bloody boat, you know, and do all that. And because we're going to walk around pretending we're posh, everyone will think we're poshies. Poshies don't look like that, do they? They look like Duran, bloody hanging around, doing all that stuff. Bloody hell. Right, Planet Earth, I like that one. That was a bit sci-fi, that first one wasn't it? Because, of course, they're named after that chap out of Barbarella. Oh, I used to love that film, I did, Barbarella. And they had that bloke play. They're played by the actor Milo O'Shea. There's a lot of facts I'm giving you here. Milo O'Shea played a character called Duran. But I bloody wasn't looking at that. Nah, Jane Fonda in bloody Barbarella. We used to have a club in Birmingham called Barbarella's. I don't think it was named after her, though. I think it was named after... I mean, they were bloody... They had... Come here, don't tell anybody, but they had some gangsters in Birmingham, right? And they had a bunch... They owned all the bloody clubs, you see. And they had a bunch of daughters, and they named all the clubs after the daughters. And the one daughter was called Barbarella, so they named it after her. I mean, who calls their daughter bloody Barbarella? You know, only a bloody gangster. Anyway, don't mention them. I don't know if they're still around, but you got to watch out, because that could be a bit nasty, those chaps. They could. Anyway, anyone from Birmingham knows what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, anyway. So I bloody loved Barbarella. I love Jane Fonda, especially with him, you know, with all those dolls with the teeth are coming after her and they're biting all her clothes, you know, all that bit. It's quite kinky, really. But a kinky film that was, old Jane Fonda. She's still going. She's about 90, isn't she, old Jane? Anyway, who were we talking about? I was Duran, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they're all right. Planet Earth, I like that one. What else did they do? Wild Boys. Wild Boys. What did they do? Did you see that one? They all like bloody being like, it was all like, what's that film? When all the kids are on the island, they turn into the natives. Lord of the Flies, they all went like that, didn't they? All bloody cannibal holocaust, wasn't it, going on? They're funny, they are, bloody Duran. What else did they do? They did all sorts of stuff, did they? Name a few. Hungry like the wolf. Hungry like the wolf. That was an old saying in Birmingham. You know, we used to call bloody... I mean, the Black Country lots, they would say, I'm Clam Jeff, which means you're hungry in Black Country. We don't say that in Birmingham. I'm Clam Jeff, I'll give you dos. I could eat an oss, they'd say, eat an oss, eat a horse. Ate an ox betwixt two palliasses. A palliass is like a bloody mattress. Can you imagine a sandwich which is like an horse between two mattresses? That's a bloody big sandwich. That's how the black country, they got away with words they have. Oh, they were old black country. The yams. They got away with words. But when we were lads, I used to go, bloody hell, I'm hungry. You can get hungry like a wolf, because a wolf, they're out in the bloody forest, aren't they, walking around? They're always bloody hungry, aren't they? They've got a big mouth and drips coming out of the mouth, you know. Oh, God, I want to eat something. Got to eat something. What do you want to eat, wolf? I don't care. I'll eat a rabbit or even a child. I'll eat a child. I don't bloody care. How are you going to catch a child? I don't know. I might dress up as their grandma. It's a bloody saft idea, wolf. What's a bloody long-winded way of catching a bloody child, isn't it? Why don't you just make yourself a net? Well, I can't bloody work a net, you see. I can't bloody work it. I'm pulling it with my mouth and I've got sharp teeth, tends to rip a hole. The child comes running out. Now I'm going to have to do it with some sort of deception and impressionism. You don't want to be dressed up. Bloody idiots dress up as people. Wolf, you don't want to dress, especially when you're a wolf. Why are you going to dress up? Well, I was thinking of dressing up as their grandma. Dress up as their bloody grandma? You've got great big teeth and all that bit. If she sees that, she's just going to go, basically, you know, because I don't want to talk about Duran. I'm just telling you the story of Little Red Riding Hood, haven't you? And you've all heard it. You've all heard it. Shall we move on? Right, number 4. I've got the Moody Blues. They were like a bloody prog band. Andy never mentions them. They bloody invented prog. Not that bloody load of Nazis from down south, bloody King Crimson, Robert Fripp. He didn't invent nothing. Nothing. Fripp didn't. Have you seen him now? Have you seen what he's bloody doing now, Robert Fripp? Now, Toyah, that's a different thing. She could have been on the list because Toyah Wilcox is from Birmingham. She was very posh, though. Didn't stand a chance with her in the old days. Nah, I did try, didn't get anywhere. Her dad used to own this big factory and he was bloody loaded. And she was a bit spoiled, old Toyah was. She got bloody everything her way, got a bit spoiled, a bit bossy she was. But she decided to become a punk. And she did all right, actually. She had a song with, and it was called It's a Mystery. It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery. And that was all right, you know. Don't know what was a mystery, really. Probably the fact that she'd become a punk, I suppose. Anyway, then she meets old Robert Fripp. And Robert Fripp, he was a bit of a weirdo. I know I'm not talking about the Moody Blues, but I've got to tell you this, you see, because it's one of these Birmingham things. So, he was a bit of a weirdo, he was. He was going off and bloody staying and doing meditating. You know, one of those types. Then he meets Toyah, and she pulled him in, and now he's under the bloody thumb. He really is under the thumb of Toyah, and she's got him doing all sorts. Have you seen her? Bloody hell! Can't bloody believe it. Have you seen what she's doing with Robert Fripp on the channel? Have you seen on the YouTube what she's doing there? They do cover versions. She dresses him all up. He looks like a right nana stood there. And he's got his head in this sort of punk style. And they put makeup on him. But nobody's looking at Robert Fripp. Oh, they know. You know why? Because, I mean, Toyah's in her bloody 60s, but she don't care. She's got no shame. That's what my wife Beryl said. Because she caught me. I'm not caught me. She saw me looking at his channel. She goes, what are you looking at that for? What are you watching that? I said, well, I just wanted to know what Robert Fripp was up to. He says, you're not. You've been gawping, you have. You've been gawping at bloody Toyah. What do you mean I didn't notice anything? I said, look at her. She's got, everything's on bloody show. Look at her, what she's got going on there. She's going to be slipping out of that if she doesn't watch it. You know, if she's not careful. I said, I don't think she's bloody that careful. He said, you've been looking at him. I said, I haven't. You know, but for those older blokes, you know, we ain't got much really. I mean, I said to her, we could do something like that. I said, yeah, but you don't play an instrument and I don't sing. I said, it don't matter, but you could do some dancing around, get the old chests out and bloody, you know, we could bet they're making a bloody load. That's why Fripp's not doing King Crimson anymore. And she said, I could do that, but Beryl, you wouldn't want to see that, you know. Nah, you wouldn't want to see that, not really. Nah, it did put you off your dinner, that would. Anyway, Robert Fripp did not invent prog. It was the bloody Moody Blues. Moody Blues. I think John Lodge is, I didn't know him that well. They're a bit snotty, that lot. But anyway, he died the other day, so that's a bit sad, isn't it, old Moody Blues. Justin Hayward. Beryl used to have a thing for him. You know, Beryl did, old Justin. She used to thought he was like, oh, he's bloody lovely, isn't it, that Justin? I said, get out of it. Bloody Nancy boy. I said, she goes, oh no, he's bloody lovely. I mean, if he was doing a video like Toya now, I tell you, my wife would be watching it, coming out in his bloody underpants, you know, and jiggling about doing songs. But I think Justin's, he's not, I mean, he's a bit old now, and I think he's a bit incapacitated mobility-wise, if you know what I'm saying. So he wouldn't want to be jiggling anything, would he, in case he did himself a mischief. That's what Andy's done. Andy's not here. He's got a bad back. He said, I can't bloody move. He said, have you been jiggling like Toya Wilcox? He said, of course I bloody haven't. You dang great big nana, he said. I said, don't call me a non. Anyway, I won't get into all that. We had a bit of a row about it. Anyway, number 3, I've got, here we are, one of the greatest bands of all time. At number 3, I've got Judas Priest. Judas Priest. Bloody love him. Love him. Rob Halford on vocals. KK Downing on guitar. Glenn Tipton, named after Tipton in the Black Country, on the guitar. What's the name on bass? And Thingy on drums. I don't really want to talk about the drummer, really. Dave Holland. There's a bass player called Dave Holland from Wolverhampton as well. But he was like a jazz type. I won't get into him. It's sort of stuff Andy would talk about. But yeah, I really like Judas Priest. I used to know him in the old days. They started off, they got this sort of Led Zeppelin. Look, Rob Halford, he had all the long blonde hair, and he came out doing all the sort of Robert Plant thing, you know. But unbeknownst to us, right, you might not know this about Rob Halford because it's not bloody obvious, but he also was a homosexual.
You know, homosexual.
Yeah. And he was going, he got into it. Now he says it's not the case. Now I'm wearing a bit of leather now, aren't I? And now the reason I'm wearing the leather, and I've got the denim jacket over the top. I've got the patches. You want to see? Look at this. I'll turn it around because I'll turn it around properly so you can have a good go. Look, that's proper rock, that is. Can you see that there? I've got the proper patches on. This is proper attire for a proper gentleman, is to wear this, the old denim jacket over the leather jacket, with the patches on like that. Are you impressed? But old Rob Halford, he really got into it, you know, because yeah, he was into all that type of stuff. Yeah, the leather and the bloody studs and all that. They did an album called Hell Bent for Leather. You know, I said to Rob, I said, do you really want to be putting the word bent into a title of one of your albums? Is that going to give the game away? And he went, well, I don't care if the game's given away. I'm proud of who I am, he said to me. I'm proud of it. I said, well, you should be, Rob. There's nothing wrong with it.
Started off with a simple biker jacket and then some leather pants. And then it just began to get a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more elaborate.
Rob Halford's. We got a shop in the United Kingdom called Halford's. They like do bike repairs and stuff like that. You can get like oil from there, you know. I've always wondered if Rob Halford's got anything to do with Halford's, the shop. Just putting it out there in case anybody knows. Right, we're to number 2 now. Oh, got a bad eye. This eye's been playing me up a bit. It's been weeping. You know, when you got a weepy eye, people think I'm crying. I'm not bloody crying. I said, don't be so bloody soft. What do you think what am I crying about? You know, Beryl said, what are you crying about? Just because I had a go at you. I said, yeah, well, you shouldn't have hit me. Just because I was looking at Toya Wilcox's channel. She gave me a right belt, she did. Bloody Beryl. She's a good lady, she is. Just a bit jealous, she is. I don't know what she's bloody jealous about. No, Toya's not going to have any... She's not going to be interested in me, is she? I mean, if she is, that'd be bloody brilliant. Anyway, and number 2, I've got ELO. They're one of the biggest bands in the world. They wrote bloody Mr. Blue Skies. It's one of the biggest songs in the world, right? ELO, they've bloody sold millions and millions of albums. They're from Birmingham, and they're like the bloody Beatles, and nobody goes on about them. I don't get it. ELO from Birmingham. Jeff Lynne. Bev Bevan on bloody drums, Richard Tandy. Now, we had a shop called Tandy's name. I don't know if he had got any. I get obsessed with this, I tell you. So many rock people have got the same name as bloody shops. I always think, you know, you got Richard Tandy, Rob Alford's. You got all of them, and it's like I'll think of another one in a minute and tell you it. I always think, is there any link between these two facts? You know, Tandy's. I used to bloody love Tandy's. If you wanted to get electronic items, it was pretty brilliant. You know, but now you can't get anything. You know. If you want, say, like a 1/4-inch jack to mini jack cable, you got to get it off Amazon, and it's a piece of crap from China. Don't bloody work. In the old days, you go down Tandy, bloody, and get yourself some electronic stuff from there. I used to have to, because I couldn't play an instrument. So to get in the band, I used to do a bit of roadieing in the old days, and I used to have like a bag of cables. And if somebody broke their cable, they go, oh, bloody hell, what am I going to do? I'm in like trouble. I haven't got a mini jack and big jack. I said, don't worry, I've got one from Tandy's. Now, you can't bloody do that, but I don't do that much work with the bands now. I got about out of it because, I don't know, got a bit old for it, really. And, you know, I used to do a bit of work in the day for Dark Star. And they didn't do the biggest gigs. Look them up, they were a band. Dark Star. I remember them. Dark Star I used to do bits for in the old days, yeah. I once did a bit of roading for Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. Right, ELO, they're done. Don't need to talk about them. And of course, what have I got at number one? You know I've got a number bloody one, don't you? The greatest band of all time. The Beatles of Birmingham. The most important band that was ever formed in the history of bands. You know who? You know exactly who. Black Bloody Sabbath. Now, I've spoken at length about Black Bloody Sabbath, but the last time I saw you, right, was when I did the live streaming. If you have a look, I did the live streaming when they had the Black Sabbath gig. Bloody amazing. Andy did a live stream, right? This is what bloody happened. Andy did a live stream in the afternoon. He had a few people in. Then he says, really, Dave should be doing this. So he comes around the bloody house, knocks the door. You're right, Dave. Do you want to come and do some live streaming? I said, I was bloody enjoying myself here, watching the Black Sabbath gig. I paid for it. And he said, well, why don't you bloody come round anyway and just watch it round of mine, do live stream? I said, all right then, I don't mind doing that. So get myself ready, go around his house. I'm sat there live streaming. The next thing, we've got about 150,000 people watching. They're all watching it. You know, Andy was all right. But I mean, the thing with Andy is right. Okay. He might have all the bloody facts and philosophies going, right? He might have all of that, right? But he hasn't got the down-to-earth touch that I've got. Anyway, so I'll bring in the Birmingham down-to-earth touch. 150,000 people watching it. You couldn't believe it. Then you know what happened, right? I've been on to Geezer Butler. I've been ringing him up because I know Geezer. I said, you're right, Geezer. Could I get in on backstage at the Black Sabbath gig? And he's thinking me of Geezer. He doesn't believe on. It's hard to explain this, you see. I remember in the old days, we don't remember me. And so he won't let me go near him. And eventually, I was bothering him so much that he's put a court injunction out on me. I mean, that's it. We don't want to get into all of this. But anyway, that's what he's bloody done. So that's it. So I'll ring him up and he goes, not you. Right. And he hangs up. So I start to do the live streaming. And Geezer, he goes online and he sees me doing the live stream and he can't have it. So he turns round to bloody Sharon and says, can you do something about this? And they, what, that bloke there? And he went, yeah, do something about him. So they bloody did a copyright strike on Andy. Everyone's watching it. The next minute, he's just taken off screen by bloody Sharon Osbourne. And I feel a little bit of blame for that, really. But anyway, I think a few weeks later, of course, poor old Ozzy, he passed away, didn't he? And I really wanted. I rang up Andy and he said, I said, I really want to come on do a tribute to Ozzy, and he said, I can't do that, Dave. And I said, why? And he said, because I can't find your wig. But apparently he's found it. I don't know. He's got a wig. He's got a bag of wigs. I don't know what he's on about. Anyway, bit of a postmodern ending to the video. Right, that's it. Brummie Dave signing off. Hope you loved this video. The 10 greatest bands from Birmingham. You know I didn't get a lot of facts about in there, but there is a bloody list there. So I hope you enjoyed it. We had a laugh, didn't we? Did you enjoy it? If you enjoyed it, put it on the bloody channel because it's gone for too long. I've missed you lots. I really have. So I hope you liked it, you know. And the last time I was on, I can remember, right, I'd had a bit of a bloody problem, you see. I'd had a problem because I was doing an Airfix. I was making a Spitfire. Airfix bloody, you know, one of them things, the plastic things. And I'm working away, right? I'm working away on it. And I had a bit of a bloody bogey on the old nose. So I wiped it away like, and I got all the Airfix glue stuck in this side of my moustache. So I thought, oh, sod it. So I shaved the moustache off. Then Andy rings up saying, do you want to come on the channel? So I had to wear a fake moustache back then. And a lot of people, I think you're not real because I didn't want to go on without the bloody black moustache. I mean, I'm a metaler. You can't not do metal unless you've got a black moustache. But luckily, because I haven't been on, I've been able to basically, you know, I hope you appreciate that because that's the proper metal moustache there. Anyway, we done. So what did Andy say I'm going to do? I've got a bloody list of things I've got to say at the end. Right. What's he bloody can't read? He's bloody writing. Bloody hell, it's like a spider, inky spider walking across a page. Right, if you like this video, put a like on it. If you aren't subscribed, then you need to subscribe and press the subscribing button and then you'll be subscribed. Andy's got a Patreon. Right, and if you go on that, you can become a Patreon. I don't know what the bloody hell that is. It looks like you've got to pay him money to do it. You can become a member as well. A member of what? What, Andy, the member of Andy's bloody club? Who wants to be in that club anyway? He's got a membership here. Bloody hell, people are paid to be a member of that. And what do they get? Bloody watch the videos early, I suppose. Bloody waste of money, that one. He's got a PayPal tip jar. No, he bloody has. It's like, I ring him up on a Friday, how you doing? He's going, bloody rubbing his hands together. He said, what's the matter with you? He said, someone's just stuck 20 quid in the bloody PayPal tip jar. I've got myself chicken danzak. It's coming around in a minute. So I'm going to bloody put a good film on. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the bloody music. All he wants to do is get bloody, he's got a great big collection of bloody war films on DVD. You know, I rang him up, I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm eating a bloody chicken danzak and watching 663 Squadron. What's it to you, Dave? I'll spend me time. I said, you should be listening to some bloody jazz. You don't like it, really, do you? You only pretend to like it. Bloody noise, that is. He don't half like some weird stuff anyway. He'll be back soon when his back's bloody better. I said, take some bloody ibuprofen and get on the bloody job. What's wrong with you, mate? Bloody moaning about your bloody bad back. He's not done a bloody proper day's work in his life, that chap. Anyway, I've said all the stuff. I'm signing off. Right, I will take my hat off. Bloody hell, watch that bit there. I'll take my hat off, bid you adieu. Bye-bye. See you all. Brummie Dave, signing off.
As comfortable as you were. Words were making sense elsewhere. Then what you might have seen might be reality if your vision's constantly blind.